Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Yeshichanzom. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Monday, the 30th of August. Flood situation in India's Assam grim, over 258,000 people of 16 districts affected. Rockets target US troops as Afghanistan withdrawal enters final stage. And Pakistan's opposition alliance vows to relaunch campaign to oust PM Imran Khan. And now for all the details. Seasonal monsoon rains are crucial for farmers, but excessive rainfalls affect several regions in India, causing problems like floods and landslides. Due to incessant rains in northeast India over the past few days, the water level of the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries have risen, causing flooding. The flood situation continued to remain grim as over 258,000 people of 16 districts have been affected.
Flood situation in India's northeastern Assam state remains grim as 732 villages in 16 districts have been affected due to floods following heavy rainfall. Due to incessant rains in Assam and some parts of Arunachal Pradesh over the past few days, the water level of the Brahmaputra river and its tributaries have risen. The rivers are flowing above the danger level mark in many places, and flooding has damaged several houses, inundated cultivated land and damaged roads in remote areas in recent days. As many as 258,191 persons have been affected in 16 districts of Assam due to flood in the state, said the Assam State Disaster Management Authority on Sunday in its flood report. Residents in Laika Dadia villages on Monday were seen wading through flood waters.
हर साल मैंने इधर में बारिश होने से थोड़ा और ब्रह्मपुत्र का पानी बढ़ता है तो सब आदमी का घर में इधर घर द्वार में उठता है तो आदमी लोग को बहुत परेशानी होता है तो इधर एक तो रास्ता का भी प्रॉब्लम है।
मेरा घर में आज 3 दिन से पानी है और इस पानी में बच्चा कच्चा जीने के लिए बहुत दिक्कत होता है। खाना पीना सब गैस पानी कुछ नहीं, लकड़ी भी नहीं है, कैसे जाएंगे? ना कोई कमाई है ना कोई इनकम है।
Many people have been forced to leave their homes and take shelter in safer places after flood waters entered their homes. A total of 91 relief camps and relief distribution centers have been set up for the flood victims in the state, in which 6,218 victims are taking shelter.
Military planes took off from the Kabul Airport on Monday as the foreign withdrawal enters the final stage, ending 2 decades of military involvement in Afghanistan. As the United States rushed to complete its withdrawal from Afghanistan to end its longest war, U.S. anti-missile defenses intercepted as many as 5 rockets that were fired at Kabul's airport early on Monday morning, a U.S. official said. As many as 5 rockets were fired at Kabul's international airport early on Monday morning, but were intercepted by missile defense system, a U.S. official said, as the United States rushed to complete its withdrawal from Afghanistan to end its longest war. One of these rockets hit a residential house, having evacuated about 114,400 people, including foreign nationals and at-risk Afghans, in an operation that began a day before Kabul fell to the Taliban on August 15. US and allied forces are set to complete their own withdrawal by Tuesday to meet a deadline agreed with the Islamist militants.
وضعیت خب مردم وحشت زده و ترسیده و همگی در فکر عزیز که آینده افغانستان و باز این راکت پراگنی های دههای قبلی باز تکرار میشه و به این خاطر مردم هم کم ترسیده و وحشت زده هستند ولی به هر حالش میگذره.
Military planes were seen taking off from Kabul Airport on Monday. The number of U.S. troops at the airport had fallen to below 4,000 over the weekend, with efforts to depart becoming more urgent after an Islamic State suicide bomb attack outside the gates on Thursday killed scores of Afghan civilians and 13 U.S. military personnel. A White House statement said U.S. President Joe Biden reconfirmed his order that commanders do whatever is necessary to protect our forces on the ground after being briefed on the attack, and he was informed that operations continued uninterrupted at the airport. On Sunday, a U.S. drone strike killed a suicide car bomber who Pentagon officials said was preparing to attack the airport on behalf of ISIS-K, a local affiliate of Islamic State that is an enemy of both the West and the Taliban. The departure of the last troops will mark the end of the US-led military intervention in Afghanistan, which began in late 2001 after the Al-Qaeda September 11 attacks on the United States. More news from Afghanistan. Scores of displaced families living outside the Afghan capital Kabul were seen madly desperate for food bags being handed out by charity workers recently as the humanitarian crisis unfolds in the war-torn country. Afghans have also expressed worries over an uncertain future amid a sudden halt of foreign aid following the Taliban's takeover.
Hundreds of displaced families living in a camp outside the Afghan capital Kabul were seen madly desperate for bags of bread being handed out by workers of a non-profit charity recently, the most visible face of a humanitarian crisis unfolding in the war-torn country. The Taliban's swift takeover of Afghanistan this month, culminating in the capture of Kabul on August 15, has thrown the country into turmoil. Meanwhile, Kabul residents said in addition to worries about how their life will change under the Taliban, they are concerned about the immediate future and putting food on the table as prices have risen steadily and the Afghani currency has tumbled since the Taliban took over. Meanwhile, Taliban spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid has said the group will announce a full cabinet in the coming days and that the difficulties will subside quickly once the new administration is up and running. But with its economy shattered by decades of war, Afghanistan now faces a sudden halt in inflows of billions of dollars in foreign aid.
In news from Pakistan, the Pakistan Democratic Movement has announced it will relaunch the anti-government campaign that would culminate in a march towards capital Islamabad. The leaders of multi-party opposition alliance said they will oust the fake and corrupt government of Prime Minister Imran Khan, which has resulted in unprecedented inflation and poverty in the country.
PDM, the Pakistan Democratic Movement, on Sunday staged a strong comeback after a months-long lull with a power show in Karachi city, vowing to relaunch the anti-government movement that would culminate in a march towards capital Islamabad. The leaders of the multi-party opposition alliance, however, did not share details and schedule for the campaign. Shehbaz Sharif, the president of PMLN, Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz Party, said that PDM chief Maulana Fazlur Rahman will lead a sea of supporters to end the unjust rule of fake and corrupt government of Prime Minister Imran Khan, which has resulted in unprecedented inflation and poverty in the country.
और हम सब इनके साथ लाखों लोगों के साथ मिलकर महंगाई को दफन करने के लिए इस झूठी और करप्ट हुकूमत को सियासी तौर पर दफन करने के लिए इंशाअल्लाह जाएंगे.
Meanwhile, Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said on Sunday the government is not at all worried over unseasonal public gatherings of the PDM, but certainly concerned that these rallies may lead to further spread of coronavirus. Qureshi said all movements of the opposition had failed during the last 3 years, and their fresh and future initiatives would meet the same fate as well.
In news from Nepal, the top leaders of Nepal's ruling parties held meeting at Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deuba's official residence on Monday and decided to give full shape to the cabinet at the earliest possible date. According to Nepali Congress General Secretary Purna Bahadur Khatka, the leaders of Nepali Congress, CPN Maoist Centre and CPN Unified Socialist decided to expand the cabinet. Last week, Madhav Kumar Nepal registered his political party CPN Unified Socialist after parting ways with the KP Sharma Oli's CPN UML. Meanwhile, CPN UML on Sunday issued a circular to people's representatives against standing in favor of the party split. Last week, CPN, UML and JSP split, giving rise to two new political parties, CPN Unified Socialist and Democratic Socialist Party, after President Bidya Devi Bhandari issued a party split ordinance. The Election Commission has now given a deadline till September 7 to elected people's representatives of UML and JSP to choose their party. Celebrations erupted back home as Indian athletes shined at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games on Monday, bagging as many as 5 medals, including 2 gold and 2 silver medals. Avni Lekra became the first Indian woman to win a gold in the Paralympics in the women's air rifle final on Monday, while Sumit Antil bagged gold in javelin throw event.
Celebrations erupted back home after Indian athletes bagged as many as 5 medals, including 2 gold, 2 silver and 1 bronze at the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games on Monday. 19-year-old Indian shooter Avni Lekra became the first Indian woman to win a gold in the Paralympics in the women's 10-meter air rifle final on Monday, while Sumit Antil bagged gold in men's javelin throw. Relatives and friends of Lekra in Jaipur city were seen dancing to drum beats and distributing sweets to mark the proud occasion. Lekra was injured in a car accident in 2012 and she suffered spinal cord injuries that impaired her legs.
इससे बढ़कर और कोई खुशी हो ही नहीं सकती कि हमारी पोती अवनी लेखरा ने ओलंपिक में गोल्ड जीता है और ये इसकी मेहनत का मतलब फल इसको मिला है.
Meanwhile, similar scenes were witnessed at residence of athlete Yogesh Kathunia, who won a silver medal in discus throw. Paralympian Devendra Jhajadia also bagged a silver in men's javelin throw, while Sundar Singh Gurjar bagged the bronze during the same event. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrote congratulatory messages to the athletes on Twitter and lauded their glorious victory. India has won a total of 7 medals so far, including 2 gold, 4 silvers and 1 bronze at the Tokyo Paralympics, which is set to run till September 5.
Devotees across India on Monday flocked temples amid the pandemic to mark Janmashtami, the festival which marks the birth anniversary of Hindu Lord Krishna. They performed prayers, sang devotional songs and some of them also observed fast to mark the occasion.
Scores of devotees across India celebrated the auspicious festival of Janmashtami, the birth anniversary of Hindu Lord Krishna, with full fervour and devotion on Monday amid the COVID-19 pandemic. In North India's Mathura city, considered the birthplace of Lord Krishna, devotees took out a procession and were seen performing dance on drum beats to commemorate the occasion. Believers also observed the day by keeping a fast and praying at the temples. According to Hindu text, Lord Krishna took birth in human form to kill his maternal uncle Kans, the demon king of Mathura city.
कुंज बिहारी को बांके बिहारी को आज जन्मोत्सव है और पूरे विश्व में जहां भगवान कृष्ण के भक्त हैं सब आज इस जन्मोत्सव को हर्षोल्लास से सब लोग मना रहे हैं.
Meanwhile, the famous ISKCON temple in Indian capital New Delhi witnessed devotees immersed in the festive spirit as they were seen performing prayers and rituals to mark the occasion. Some of them also sang devotional hymns and danced along.
जन्मदिन पे इनका इंतजार रहता है तो इस दिन में यहाँ पे आना बहुत जरूरी समझती हूँ. मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है, मन को बहुत शांति मिलती है यहाँ आकर.
This year too, due to the pandemic, the human pyramid competitions were not held, a tradition associated with the festival. Folklore says Lord Krishna formed pyramids with friends to break pots of butter or curd hung from ceilings.
Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/AsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @AsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We will see you same time tomorrow. Good night.